there's no secret to it. It's fundamentals and working on the same thing over and over. Like, think about Gerald McClellan and his body shots. Like, I remember him hitting the shit out of that bag all the time, working on that left hand to the body. He would just sit there and just crank out that left hand to the body. 1, 2, left hand to the body. I remember watching that all the time. That's what he would work on the bag. Then when he went to the ring, he went into the fight. What did he do? 1, 2, left hand to the body. And he would break people down with that liver shot when he caught him.
It's interesting you mentioned McClellan's liver shot, because Thomas Hearns also another Kronk fighter like McClellan. Hearns probably wasn't noted for his left hook to the head, but he did have a great left hook to the body as well.
Yep.
So is that something to do with what you mentioned about Joe Louis, Detroit boxer, leaning into punches? I've heard James Toney say the same thing, leaning into punches. So leaning into the right hand, for example, lends itself to a better left hook to the body.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's like, it's like physics, okay? Like, if I'm gonna shoot my right hand, I'm naturally, my shoulder's gonna go this way, my weight's gonna shift to my left foot. How do I bring that power back? I can either rotate into it or I could bring myself back. So if I bring myself back to my left, for me, it would be my left foot, but for a conventional fighter, I would bring my weight back to my right foot, or I can rotate into that punch. Those are two different things that you can do. Will they have the same effect? It depends on the situation. You know what I mean? And so that's the other thing is, like the liver shot and the left hand to the body is something that Kronk is really well known for. But if you, and this is me like going back in the day, whatever, if you look at some of the old Cuban fighters from like the 70s, and even look at them in the 90s, in the early 90s, and you look at how those southpaws and even the Russians, how they threw that left hand to the body, because they knew that as a southpaw, whatever, it's a long reach. But if they threw that looping left hand to the body and they caught you on the body, they just need to just tap you in the liver. Because you can have the best body in the world, best defense in the world. You get caught in the liver, 1, 2, you're going down. You know, it's a delayed shot. And so that's what happens. And that's like one of the things. Like, I remember watching Gerald McClellan doing that. And then when I started like really diving into like watching Russians and Cubans fight, because, you know, my goal was to get to the Olympics. And then after the Olympics, whatever happens. I was like, wow, you know, there's a similarity here of why is this working for them? Why is this working for, you know, Gerald McClellan? Like, that was my example of it. It was like Gerald McClellan, because he was so known for it. Like, that's the guy that I would see, you know, hit the bag and then work on that left hand to the body. Like, you know, and, you know, the other thing is people will talk about the left hook at Kronk. And so if you ever notice when Gerald McClellan threw the left hook to the body, it was never short. He extended his arm, whatever, and because that's the easiest way to do it. Like, you close the distance, you close it with your arm. And so that was like one of the, I guess you could say, where the problem came up with my dad teaching me, my dad teaching my brother, and then my brother being taught by somebody that was, you know, from Kronk coach, is that my dad didn't agree with the short hook. And if you think of like a lot of the Kronk fighters, it's basically, it's a short hook, whatever. And a lot of people say, you need to throw your hook this way. All right. I don't care if you throw your hook this way, if you throw your hook this way, however you throw it, it works for you. It works for you. But so that was like one of the things that my dad was like, no, that doesn't make sense for you guys. You guys are tall. Like, my brother was 6'1". He's like, a short hook is not going to work for you if somebody is at distance. It's not going to work, you know, and you're a softball. So a short hook's not going to work for you guys. And I remember him arguing with the guy at the time. He's like, why are you teaching him this short hook shit when it's not going to work? You know, maybe in the pros it's going to work where you can fight, you know what I mean? But amateurs, they're going to break you apart. You know, there is no in fighting, whatever, you can't hold and fight. And so that was like one of the things that I was like, oh yeah. So there's different ways of throwing a hook.